In this session we're going to talk about types of selling, and we're going to look at some of the roles that people adopt in the selling process. So we start with looking at the purpose of selling. The main aim of selling is to make a sale. The words suggest it. Selling, sale. If a sale has been achieved, then the selling process is successful. Of course, it's necessary to make the sales to generate a revenue which will enable the company to succeed. If the company doesn't have sales revenue, it'll have pure costs. It means the company will be running at a loss and it will cease to exist. So the selling aspect of the business is extremely important. And the main aim of the whole selling effort is to make the sale. It's a complex process involving a range of tasks, a range of personalities, a range of functions, and it depends critically on the product being sold. If it's a small, trivial, fun item, it may have a different position in the market to, say, a large, complex piece of machinery, which also needs to be sold. So different personnel, different functions, depending on the nature of the product. The sales team must have the right skills to be able to carry out the sales activity. It's essential that the sales team be trained in the use of the product, what the product is, the usefulness of the product, its attributes, its characteristics, and in all aspects of the product, including after-sales service. So the sales team must be completely au fait with all of the aspects relating to the product. Must be able to answer questions by the customer on any aspect of the product. Now, the different types of selling. Well, there are different types of selling in the selling process. It may differ. The approach may differ, as I said earlier, depending on the type of product and the nature of the market in which it's been sold. It may differ for cultural reasons if it's sold in different countries, or it may differ because the product is radically different to other types with which we can compare. So the selling process, the approach to selling, will vary according to the nature of the product, the price of the product, the culture of the society in which it's been sold, the skills of the team. So there are many factors which will determine the precise approach to selling. Two writers, Jobber and Lancaster, identify three types of selling and the difference between each: order takers, order creators, and order getters. The titles seem to suggest what they do. The order takers are the people who take the order, who make sure that the customers understand the product and are prepared to go forward, and they take the order. The order creators are the ones who initially approach the customers and deal with the customers' inquiries, answer the questions, allay the fears of the customers, and create the order. And the order getters are the ones who initially sort out the orders to make sure that there are customers for the product. So we can look at the selling function according to this little schema. We can say that the selling function is the order takers. Now, the order takers are inside order takers, people within the business who take the orders on a telephone or take the orders through email or whatever approach. They may take the orders outside the business. They may be representatives in the field, representatives who visit other companies or visit the customer and take the orders there. And the orders may be taken by delivery salespeople. So when a customer places an order and receives the goods, the delivery person who is now dealing with the customer and who has travelled to deal with the customer, because he or she is delivering the product, in that case he or she may also consider the possibility of taking further orders, talk to the customer and act as a salesperson, not just a delivery person, but as a salesperson trying to acquire further orders. The order creators, well, these are ones who describe the product. They describe the product, they paint a picture of the product, they answer questions that the customer may have about the product, and they recommend the product. They may not own the product or deliver the product directly. There may be an agency who recommends a variety of products but picks out one that is suitable to a particular customer. So it could be an agency recommending cars, and within the portfolio we'll have all sorts of cars, Ford, Volvo, Mercedes, Audi, and so on. It'll have many different cars, and it will listen to the customer, to the customer's requirements, and then make a recommendation that this type of car would be the most appropriate, and perhaps put the customer in contact with the retailer and get a commission to pay for his or her efforts. Order getters, well, these are frontline salespeople. These are the ones who try to make direct contact with the customers. These are the people within the organization who are more of a classic seller. These are the people who will contact the customers, talk to the customers, and try to persuade the customers to buy the product. They're frontline salespeople. But there could also be sales support people, people who are doing research into the market, people who are providing information about the market, working out current trends, making recommendations to management about innovations for the product to meet current fashions, and feeding that through to the frontline salespeople who now have more information to work on to hopefully from their perspective get more sales. And we can see here that the frontline salespeople will try to generate new business, try to contact new customers. They will look for organizational sales, and these are people who are selling to organizations and try to cultivate the organizations to stock their product and to sell on their product from their own business. So it's like a business-to-business contact. And customer salespeople, well, these are simply salespeople within the business who are trying to contact customers directly to try and make sales. And under the sales support banner, we've got the technical supports people who ensure that the product is good standard, it meets the requirements of the market, it enhances the reputation of the business. And the merchandisers who just generally promote products in that area and who will make a recommendation for this particular product should the case arise. Now let's look at the selling function. There are three types of selling function, as we suggested. There's the order takers. The aim is to continue meeting the demand of existing customers. So they deal with existing customers and try to cultivate the existing customers and try to move them into further orders and sell on in that way. Order takers include inside order takers, people working within the company, delivery salespeople, as I said earlier, and outside order takers. It's often the case when someone buys a car that very shortly having purchased the car, the garage will contact them. The seller of the car, the outlet for the car, will contact the customer trying to sell the customer yet another car or sell the customer an upgrade on the car, because they know the customer is interested in that particular type of car and they've just made the purchase, and perhaps they know that the customer has the money to make a further purchase. So order takers. Order creators, they're not responsible for taking orders. They respond to the needs of specifiers. The aim of doing this is to educate customers and create goodwill. They're seen as missionary salespeople. Order creators are facilitating the sales. They are putting out information about the product. They're answering questions by the customers. They are feeding their own experiences and research into the business, innovating the product in line with customer expectations and needs. So they are facilitating the whole process. They are order creators. They're the ones who are making the likelihood of orders more real. And order getters, the aim is to convince customers to make an order or to make a purchase. These are the ones who are getting the order. They want the customers to place the order. So they are referred to as frontline salespeople and support salespeople. So we have three different types here. We have the order takers, trying to meet the needs of existing customers, looking after existing customers. The order creators, who are looking at putting out more information about the product and educating customers and creating goodwill about the business, projecting the reputation of the product and the image of the product into the market. And the order getters, these are the ones who try to generate the orders, try to make the sales. So three different types of people involved in the selling function. Now let's talk about order takers and start with inside order takers. Existing customers are aware of products and services, so they don't need a salesperson to guide them through the buying process. A buying decision is made without the sales assistant. So existing customers are aware of the system. They don't have to go through the same process. They go through it once at the start. The first item they purchase, the salespeople will spend a lot of time explaining the product, explaining the various nuances of the product, what it does, how long it lasts, its reputation, its facilities, and so on. But having made the first purchase, those customers now are experienced. So the second purchase may be made without a sales assistant. So the second purchase simply involves the customer phoning up and placing an order. They already know what the product is. The aim here is to buy a product, receive payment, and package goods. And the sales role is, or the sales assistant is very transient and also transnational. This could be across boundaries very easily. If the person has got experience and happens to live in a different area or a different country, then but they've got experience of the product, then the sale is very easy. Transient in the sense that the salesperson is required for the first sale, but not required for the second or subsequent sales. So the sales assistant's role here has to be judged against the experience of the customer. Examples include buying groceries, making orders over the telephone. But it could be buying a car. If the customer understands everything there is to know about the car, and the customer is happy with the car, and then the customer for some reason needs a second car and decide to have the same type of car, perhaps for a different member of the family or whatever, or perhaps if it's a business purchase, one customer, one person within the business has an experience of the car, then the business may buy an identical car for another member of the business or another member of the family, as the case may be. But they don't need to go through the process of detailed description and all of the general selling effort that was gone into the first purchase. So it's a lot easier, the second sale. Now, order takers, well, delivery salespeople. When a person delivers goods, if the person works for the company and delivers the goods to the customer, then that person has got face-to-face contact, chances are, with the customer. So there is an ideal situation where a further sale could be made. The person speaks to the customer face-to-face whilst delivering the product and picks up on any requirements that the customer has got or any concerns the customer has got and feeds that back immediately. So the delivery person is the salesperson. Obviously it depends on the type of product. There are examples of people delivering milk or newspapers or magazines who can pick up orders for additional milk or for a second newspaper of a different type or a separate magazine. But it could also be someone delivering back to cars, someone delivering a car. The customer has placed an order for a car, the company dispatches the car directly to the customer. Well, here's the situation where the person delivering the car to the customer will be in contact with the customer and has an opportunity perhaps to talk to the customer, briefly perhaps, but nonetheless it's a contact, and that may be used to generate more sales if it's handled appropriately. The process is customer driven. The salesperson can't persuade the customer to buy more milk. It's purely on a needs basis. So the person delivering the car can't persuade the person to buy a second car just simply because they took delivery of a first car. But there is contact, and it's important that that contact is quality, that the customer feels good about the contact and feels at ease about the contact. Order takers. Well, order takers, the salesperson is responsible for visiting customers. The aim here is to meet customers' needs by listening to their requests and feedback to the sales team. So the order takers, the salesperson talks to the customer, finds out what the customer needs are, feeds it back to the sales team. The sales team may in turn feed it back to management in the business so the product is customized or tweaked in some way that meets customer requirements. So here is a situation where the salesperson is advising management as to the nature of the product and trying to address customer needs with the existing product, trying to deal with the concerns of the customer and trying to see how the product can meet the specific customer requirement. This function has been replaced by more efficient and convenient methods, for example, IT and telemarketing teams. Instead of sending someone out almost randomly to meet customers, which could be very inefficient, the company now tries to phone the customer and speak to the customer about their requirements on the phone so that there is some sort of feedback on the phone. It may be counterproductive. People may see the phone contact as intrusive. They may see it as a spam call, an unwanted call, a call that's interrupting what they're doing. Order creators. Well, so-called missionary salespeople. The salespeople task is to create goodwill and educate customers about the product and service. The salesperson's task is not to make a sale, rather to inform the buyer. So in this case, the missionary salesperson is trying to promote the image of the product, promote the company, promote the product in the marketplace. It's trying to accentuate the desirability of the product and make customers aware of the characteristics of the product, if its attributes, and to what extent the product will meet their particular requirements. Lots of examples, but a doctor can prescribe medicine, for example, but the doctor does not buy the medicine for the patient. It just simply prescribes it, simply recommends this medicine. So it falls under this category. Order getters. Well, this type of selling consists of persuading customers to make a purchase. So it's contacting the customers and trying to get the customers to make a purchase. It's the most challenging role of the salesperson, as they are responsible for making the sale. They are the frontline salespeople. So the order getters are crucial in the whole selling scenario. If the order getters are not doing their job correctly, then there won't be sales, there won't be a sales revenue, and the business will suffer. So it's imperative that the order getters can contact customers appropriately and have the right knowledge, the right approach, and a good skill set to deal with the customers and get the orders. If they're weak in any of those areas, then the orders are at risk, as is the business. The business is at risk. Sales revenue will be down. So they must display a range of skills and attributes. They must be able to negotiate, and they must have good communications and problem solving. They must be personable. They must be polite. They must understand the customer. They must understand the requirements of the customer. They must be able to empathize to some extent with the customer and relate to what the customer is saying and suggesting. Building up a rapport with the customer so as to get the sale. There are technical salespeople as well involved in order getting. They are in place to support the frontline salespeople in helping them make the sale. The salespeople may be posed with questions. The customer may ask a variety of technical questions, so it's important that the salespeople have proper training so they can answer most questions straight from the top of their head. They can simply give the answer. Or if it's a deeper question, there must be a technical support facility that the salesperson can contact easily and quickly and efficiently and get the answer and feed it back to the customer almost immediately. So it's a seamless process. Some products are very technical and require good product knowledge. So it's important that the salespeople need to have good technical knowledge as well, but also that they have got backup. They've got the technical support behind them as well. So the technical support team may be present on a continuous basis and may be there to supply the information, whatever is asked, by a range of sellers, frontline sellers. So the frontline sellers are the order getters who are in contact with the customer. When an issue arises, a technical issue arises, a question arises, a what-if question perhaps, they can contact the technical support team and get a response. Merchandisers. Well, these are people who provide sales support in retail sectors. They aim to meet customer needs and ensure customer service is efficient. So, generally speaking, merchandisers exist in the retail sector. We see the products of their labour in the retail sectors, in the shops, in the big stores. They're responsible for displays and sales promotion in stores. They They look at the stock, they deal with the stock and make sure the stock is kept fresh and moving, make sure that the presentations are clean and attractive and so on. It's a skill that they have developed, or perhaps have been trained in, to make the shopping experience as pleasant as possible. But they also maintain contact with the head office about deliveries and orders. They make sure that the product is in stock. It's pointless having a nice display in a shop if there's no stock to sell. So the merchandisers ensure that there is a stock to sell. And those are some of the issues that we want to bring to your notice in the context of types of selling. So we've seen mostly the three different types of people involved, culminating with the order getters and looking at their role. That's all I'm going to deal with in this session. It's important that you go back over the video from time to time, make your own notes, stop the video as required, wind it forwards, wind it backwards, make your own notes and pad them out. It's an important topic and it's one you should be fluent in dealing with. That's the main source that was used throughout, and that's all I'm going to deal with in this session, so I'd like to thank you for watching.